Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and dad and mom, welcome to the Curious Internet. I'm your host, DJ Bunch, but I'm not a DJ. And today we got a special guest today. Now, Thomas is not here, thank God, but we have someone else who I really consider to be one of the guys to really pioneer the whole Let's Play movement that is now because he was the guy who gave the act of thinking like you don't have to have an Elgato to fucking film you playing a game. No, you can just have your camera and put it in front of a TV screen and just film yourself playing video games. And that was literally what I did once when I was playing Halo 4. And it was a bad game. I don't know why. It was really bad. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to the man himself, the king of hate, Dark Side Phil. Hello, sir.
Hello, how's it going?
How's it going? How's it going? Now, I gotta say, like I was saying before we even recorded, I'm fucking surprised that you said yes to this because we ain't shit. Like we just a podcast is trying to do something, and we're trying to leech off of your fame, but you also know what the fuck you're talking about, so that's why we are glad that you're here.
Well, thank you for saying that. I
Yeah.
don't I don't often get invited to stuff that is any kind of a legit conversation. Let's put it that way. The most of the attention, unfortunately, that people try to seek me for is negative stuff. But when every once in a while someone wants me involved in something where they think that I can add some kind of a constructive conversation to it, I am more than willing to. I don't. I could care less how big anyone is. If you want to get my take on something, I'm more than willing to share it.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, like this, if you're a listener, you guys know that we are a not so serious podcast. Like we are not uptight, but we definitely do, talk about some serious shit because just in case you don't know, Phil, like the Curious Internet is basically about. And for any new listeners that we have here, the Curious Internet basically talks about. The whole content creating scene that's basically on the internet because me and my usual co-host Thomas, uh, we have been around for a long time. We've seen YouTube channels fly and we see YouTube channels fall. And, it's and now and so we just know our shit. So that's what we do here. And but don't think we're serious, guys. So, let's just have a nice, fun conversation. So, are you down for that, Phil?
Well, no, as you know, I am insanely serious 100% of the time, so I don't think that our styles are going to jive too well here
Oh,
on the
okay.
show. We're
All
going to
right.
have a
So
problem.
let's talk about Bernie Sanders and his talk on taxes. How about that?
Yes.
All right. Well, okay. So first of all, let's just anybody who doesn't know you, let's talk about when you started. So you started in 2008, and
Yes.
with your original channel, Dark Side Phil. And the first videos you have on there is just vlogs and everything. And actually, what I looked up actually this week, the first person that we still known as a relevancy to the whole DSP lore, if you want to fucking call it that, well, John Rambo. We saw John Rambo's face before we even saw your face.
That's true.
That
That's
is,
actually very true.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, we knew who Rambo was, but Phil, he was just that dude behind the camera. So, how would you just tell like, why you do what you do now? Like, oh, why you even started?
Well, I mean, the real reason that I started was I was always an avid fan of gaming. I grew up in the 1980s and 90s when the home consoles were really starting to become a lot more of a mainstream or commonplace thing. And then in the late 90s, I became a competitive Street Fighter player, and gaming was always part of my life growing up, part of my cultural experience growing up. But for a lot of my life, it kind of went on the back burner. In particular, I'd say during the 2000s, when it was that time of my life when I was looking for a serious job and I was looking for a place to live outside of my parents' house, or I was spending most of my free time playing competitive Street Fighter in arcades and traveling the country to play competitive Street Fighter rather than just being at home and playing video games, say on a console that weren't a fighting game.
Yeah.
And then in the I'd say probably around 2006 to 2008. Unfortunately, I realized I had something wrong with my back. I went to the doctor, found out I had a pretty serious back condition, a very severely herniated disc to the point where the disc was almost going to rupture. And basically, the doc said, "Listen, many different options for you. You can either get surgery, that's pretty risky. You can get physical therapy, that's very expensive, and you can try to make lifestyle changes. So for me, it was more of a transition of, okay, I was the guy who used to go travel to play Street Fighter all the time. I would be the one who would drive in the car for 7 hours to go
Yeah.
across the country,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to be able to do that anymore. And
Yeah.
so knowing that, I said, what can I do to change my life but still kind of have fun? What could be a hobby that I could do that I don't have to do a lot of physical activity? And I realized I could get back into console gaming, which is something I haven't done in a long time.
Mhm.
And I actually did that from about 2007 to 2008. I still had this office job that at that point I'd only worked for a couple of years. And I started buying all the major console releases and playing them, and got myself back kind of immersed into the gaming world again that I had been out of for about a decade.
Yeah.
And I remember it was late 2008, and I was playing a few different games at the time, and I said, I'm really stuck on this part of a game. Let me see if there's a fact like Game Facts to figure out how to get past this part of this RPG. And Game Facts didn't have anything at the time. So then I said, well, what is this YouTube thing that seems to be getting more popular?
Yeah.
And I saw that someone had done an actual walkthrough of the game that I was playing, this JRPG, but there was no commentary at all. It was just raw, direct capture footage of them doing certain boss fights or whatever. And I was like, it's like a 35-minute long boss fight, one of the hardest bosses in the game. And I'm like, man, if only this had commentary on it. If
It
only it had something to explain what was going on or add flair to it to make it interesting rather than just being like a dry vanilla video,
And that's like something I don't think kids these days will really understand. Everybody's used to like the Markipliers and PewDiePie and Jacksepticeye. Like for us old school gamers, if we don't know what the fuck's going on, we either have to like buy the guide for it or hope to God somebody put something like helpful on Game Facts. But a lot of the times, I don't know about you, but it did not help me at all. Or somebody put something on like the internet video wise and YouTube was coming up, and it was a lot of times just boring, just him playing the game and just seeing that. So guys like you were really thank you for doing that. Oh jeez, but go on.
Well, it's funny because when I started doing my own videos after watching that video and kind of being inspired and saying, "Gee, if I could play a game but do commentary over it and kind of not only explain what I'm doing in the game but also give my reactions to the game." I certainly did not intend for it to be a walkthrough or an instructional video for anyone. I didn't
Yeah,
even think that. Quite honestly, I had no idea if anyone would even want to watch it. It's watching someone else playing a video game. Who gives a shit? But I remember at the time, I remember I was sick one day. I was really sick, not feeling good. I was feeling down. I was playing this game, Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. I was having this really difficult time with this part where you're supposed to control a Star Destroyer with these force powers. And I was like, this has to be a fucked up part of the game because I cannot get this to work properly. What the hell? And I pulled out my old ass digital camera, which wasn't even HD. It was a standard definition
hmm
digital camera. Put it up in front of my TV crooked to try to fit a skewed perspective so you could see the whole screen. And I filmed myself basically raging at this fucking game for about 15 minutes as I did this stupid segment that was terrible. And I uploaded it and not expecting anything. And the thing actually ended up getting a few hundred, if not up to a few thousand views initially.
all
And
right.
I think what people were thinking was, wow, this is like basically this guy is kind of like a combination of the angry video game nerd, but he's not playing old games. He's doing new stuff and he's doing reactions to like live gameplay. So it's a lot different formula. It's more like improv
Yeah,
commentary rather than scripted, which is what the angry video game nerd was very popular for at the time.
yeah.
And so I said, you know what? People seem to like it. Let me try. So I did a few different games. I did Mercenaries 2. I did Dead Space, like you had mentioned. Scary as Hell is what I called the first video, where it wasn't really, these weren't walkthroughs or playthroughs. This was just like selected video clips, moments during the game that I felt were interesting moments that people would like to see my commentary on.
You were doing viral gaming videos before it was called viral gaming videos, basically.
I guess that's actually a good description of it,
Yeah,
right?
basically.
And it kind of blew up within a 3-month period of me doing this from say October to December of 2008. By the end of the year, I was getting 10, 20,000 views per video. And I was like, this is pretty wild that something that was just something very silly, not ever a thought in my mind that would ever get a view,
Mhm.
ended up becoming popular. And so what I did, I turned it basically into my hobby. I would still have my 9 to 5 job,
Yeah.
and I would keep doing that as kind of the hobby. When I got home for a couple hours a night, I would toss my camera in front of my TV and play whatever the new games were. And it got really popular. And then it was 2009 and 2010, especially with I'd say it directly coinciding with the release of Street Fighter 4. which was kind of almost like a lucky accident for me timing wise, because I actually had kind of thrown in the towel with my competitive Street Fighter days for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that this game was coming out and I had a competitive Street Fighter background, and unlike now, like with Street Fighter 5, a lot of people are going to be into it because they realize, oh, it's hype, it's exciting. Everyone played Street Fighter 4. When Street Fighter 4 came out, it wasn't like that. Street Fighter 3 was like almost a decade beforehand. There weren't a lot of competitive Street Fighter players who were well known or who even knew that they could get any kind of views or whatever on the internet. So
Yeah.
for me to come out of kind of obscurity from having a background of being a competitive Street Fighter player and playing Street Fighter 4 the way that I did, played the hell out of the game. I uploaded a ton of matches, even if it was win, lose, or draw, whether I sucked, whether it was a laggy match, no matter what, I would record it and upload it. People really liked that because it was something refreshing and different, and it gave this game mainstream exposure that maybe normally Street Fighter 4 wouldn't have gotten that kind of exposure if it weren't for people like me who were just kind of messing around and recording honest reactions and real commentary.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a lot different than with the other stuff that was out there. And really, quite honestly, after that, the rest is history. It just went kind of viral for a while. I ended up eventually losing my office job in late 2010. So I said, well, I've got this huge internet following now for doing gameplay. Why the hell couldn't I turn that into something, that I could do for a job? I ended up getting partnered with Machinima on YouTube, and that's pretty much what I've been doing for the past four. Shit, I started in early 2011, so at this point, it's been more than 4 years
Yeah.
that I've been doing it for my job. So pretty crazy ride.
Yeah, man. So, well, yeah, there's not really much to say. But as you said, we talk about that you were a part of the competitive gaming community. Uh, how did that affect how you put content out on your channel? Like, did that affect it any type of way? Or what style you would use, or did that have any effect really?
Well, see, here's the thing, and I hate to say it because a lot of people will give me shit,
Yeah.
but a lot of the competitive Street Fighter community, they're so into being like either it's two things. Either they're into it for being like instructional, like this is an instructional video and here's how you do this. And I'll be honest, is it entertaining? No. Is it informative? Absolutely. If you're
Oh
trying to
yeah.
get good at the game, it's great to watch a walkthrough from one of these guys or to watch top. For a perfect example, a lot of people say they love watching Justin Wong play games on stream and play games on YouTube because they learn so much when they watch him play.
Yeah.
But no one's going to argue that watching Justin Wong is the most entertaining thing ever. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
kind of a textbook player. He's not there to sit there and talk shit constantly. He's not, you know what I mean? He's kind of the quintessential I am the archetype for a tournament level player, and he tries to stay professional most of the time.
And by the way, just sorry, just to say anybody who doesn't know, Freddie Wong, he's one of like the best, if not to me, my opinion, the best like competitive, like not just Street Fighting, but like any fighting game.
Right.
He knows what the hell he is doing, and like if you ever get a chance to like just want to see skill, because it's not entertaining whatsoever, but if you ever want to see him, just look him up, and it's just crazy good how good this guy is. But I actually have something to add to what you with it being boring. It was that when I've really started getting into competitive gaming, my first was really was with Halo 3, and I did a couple of MLG things with it. It was like not really big serious stuff. It was just like online tournaments that they had, and sometimes I did two on two with a good buddy of mine, and sometimes I would do on solo, and I would be getting a lot of headway and everything. And one thing that I did know at least about competitive gaming is that it's a lifestyle that is just you have to put everything into like your whole life
Yes.
into this game, and
It's grueling. It
it's
is very
very
grueling.
and like when I first started, it was like, man, I can do this, and I was doing like every day, like after I came out from school, like every day, just playing that game. At first, it was fun, but then like one day, I just decided like, I'm not gonna play with the usual people I play with. I'm just gonna do it by myself, and it's just boring. Like you had no one to talk to, and anybody you try to talk to. You know what? I won't even try to say it was like they were mean, because the Halo community back then was one of the coolest communities, in my opinion. And they were always like really fun to people to play with. But it wouldn't be people that you would really want to enjoy playing. But the one community that I sometimes think that you would have really enjoyed yourself more is that, man, you should have gotten to the dead or alive community, dude, because like
Mhm.
it is just like this the guys who came out of that community, like Master. I really only got two really, Master, and of course the big YouTube vlogger Swoozy. Those guys see those guys come out of it. Those guys are like superstars because what Dead or Alive did for them. Because like I think people who play Dead or Alive understood that like the gaming thing's not gonna last forever. So what else can we do in order to really um pipe up the brand, the master brand, the Swoozy brand, and of course with Swoozy, started off at gaming, going to so many different locations just to play Dead or Alive. And while he's doing that, he's creating his brand at being a very charismatic guy, being very nice and being funny and knowing stories. And that's really how he's built his career. And I feel Dead or Alive really knew what the heck they were doing when they were trying to do a community. While, in my opinion, with Street Fighter, now please tell me to shut up if I need to, but Street Fighter, it seemed like, nah, you're only going to play Street Fighter. You got to be the best Street Fighter. If you don't do this, you don't use this character the right way, you suck, you're stupid, and we're done with you. Like, no, it's like, I feel like competitive gaming, like, really wanted, at least Street Fighter did, they wanted to put the huge emphasis on competitive, And I feel
Right.
like I can see why, you got burned out from it, seemingly like, right?
Right, and that's the thing. The other thing I was going to say, the other group of people who make vlogs aren't the super serious people. They're the people who like to maybe talk shit. They like to kind of be a personality. But the thing that's kind of the common thread in both people who kind of got popular for making Street Fighter videos, at least, is that they're all at that. They all want to be the best. They all want to be at the top level. They all want to talk shit and say they're the best no matter what. And you very rarely see someone who comes out and gets popular for doing it just because they're either entertaining or they're playing it for the love of the game or the fun of the game rather than because I want to be the top tournament guy. You know what I mean? And to be the top tournament guy is tough. It's a
Yeah.
grueling lifestyle. It takes a ton of practice. It takes a ton of exposure. You have to travel because online play is you can only get so far. You actually have to play people from all over the world in person to learn these strategies, to figure out how to get around them, to adapt to them. And a lot of people can't hang with that, either whether
Yeah.
the expense of it, because it's a lot of money to travel all around, or just the fact that it's so much work. A lot of people think that they can just sit at home and play online all day and then they're going to go to an in-person Evo and they're going to win. And that's not the case 99% of the time. Although there have been a few exceptions of online warriors who no one's ever heard of. They went to Evo and they did really well.
Yeah.
It's few and far between.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, when I was doing my fighting game videos, my approach, as opposed to everyone else who was kind of from the fighting game community, was I'm here to play the game. I'm going to have fun. Yes, I'm going to talk shit. Absolutely. And yes, I'm going to kind of have a little bit of an elitist stick up my ass because I've been playing competitive fighting games since 1991. But at the same time, ultimately, I'm here to have fun, which is why no matter what the match was, if it was a horrendous match with lag and I lost terribly, if it was a match where I blew it and I just got dominated, or on the flip side, if it was a match that was a close one or a good one, or I dominated the opponent, everything got uploaded and people kind of knew me as, wow, this is the guy. If you really want to see a game at face value, he's the honest one. He's not the guy who does the video montage of only the times that he won or only the top tier strategies. He's the guy that shows the good with the bad. So you can actually kind of see from the common gamer's perspective, if they were to play this game, what would it be like? And that's what I kind of got known for. Not that I was a good tournament level player, right? I'm not Justin Wong. I'm certainly not one of these guys who was trying to get internet famous and talk shit so that I could be known as a top Street Fighter player. But
Mm.
people knew me as, wow, every time I watch Phil play Street Fighter, I'm going to have a good time, whether it's because he's talking shit or because he loses miserably and we laugh at his fails. We
Mm-hmm.
also, kind of revel in his successes when he does win. That was kind of my catch. And that's what got me my popularity
Yeah.
during those formative years when YouTube gaming was becoming a big thing.
And one thing that I think that got your popularity is well, you already just said it, like with your entertaining commentary and just off the cuff stuff. A lot of people don't understand also is that your style, correct me if I'm wrong, it really comes from that arcade style of gaming where like a whole bunch of dudes at the arcade and we're at this one Street Fighter cabinet or maybe Dead or Alive cabinet, all that type of stuff, and it's like a really grueling like scene, like a lot of people just talking shit, cursing, a lot of stuff happening, and you grew up during that age, right?
Yeah, I've seen it all, man. I mean, and, you could talk if it's a group of friends joking around, it's one thing, but we had guys. Keep in mind, I was a teenager at the time for most of my, those early formative years of Street Fighter, and you got guys coming here mid 20s, some of them early 30s.
Yeah.
They're coming into the arcade after a day of work. They're pissed off about work, and this is their release, so they would be like, "This is serious to them." They're gonna talk shit. They don't care if you're 12 years old. They will be like, "You fucking suck. You fucking cheesed me.
Yeah.
I had this guy, and he was funny. His name was Joe, and he was probably in his early 30s, and I was probably 13, 14 years old, and he loved to play with Zangief, and I would play him, and sometimes he would win, sometimes I would win. If I beat him bad, he would pick me up. He would physically turn me over to do a tombstone pile driver. And he would say, if you beat me like that again, I'm going to tombstone you on the floor of the arcade. And that's how it was back then. It was like everyone would talk shit. Everyone would get physical. Everyone would dick around with each other. It was kind of like a boys' club, a good old boys' club. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Everyone think about, you go to a bar, you're joking around with guys, they're playing pool, they get pissed off at each other. You know what I mean? It's kind of the
Yeah.
same atmosphere. And that's what I dealt with. It was almost like Smash Mouth gaming in a
Yeah.
way. It's a lot different than what you get today, where you get either you're playing online. Of course, there's zero real social interaction there,
Yeah.
unless someone's just like swearing at you through a microphone. Or a lot, now you have these gaming get-togethers, right? And it's like everyone's very formal, everything's very relaxed, and you would
Yeah.
return, you sit down with your joystick and you play your game. Oh, good game, and that's it. That wasn't. Oh my god, good game. No one just said good game back
Right?
then. They say fuck you, motherfucker. You fucking beat me, you piece of shit.
Exactly, dude. And like with me, I kind of already like I just grew up with that culture. Like even though I sadly like I got the tail end of like the arcade scene, but I just grew up like with the shit talking vibe like as is growing up because like originally like I'm from Miami, Florida, and I'm from the hood part of it, Liberty City, Miami, and one thing that Miami is just well known for, like if you ever seen the documentary The U, which talks about the Miami Hurricanes football team during the '80s, we were just very just raunchy and shit talking a whole bunch of guys, and like me growing up, I played football, I played baseball, basketball, but football was like our main niche. And like, it'd be the same thing. Like we talk shit on the field and we talk shit off the field and everything. And that's the same thing that would happen with gaming. We will all come together and put on the N64, even put on some Brawl, or even mostly when it got real serious, either some Mario Kart or GoldenEye for N64. And gosh, there's another fighting game I can't remember. Oh dang. But we would just talk shit. Like if you beat me, like fuck that. That was cheating. You fucking got my controller. You put it out. Like no, dude. Like it's just that. Oh man, I really think it sucks that kids will never know that, man. Like
No, and the thing is, you hear people like us talking about it, and some people will probably cringe and say, "Oh God, that sounds horrible." But you understand, also, it was all in good fun. It wasn't like people were breaking out into brutal fist fights
there
after
was
every match of
there
Street
was
Fighter
never
or anything like that.
like they'll always try to be that one little butthurt kid. Let's be honest, that one butthurt kid that just like, bruh, get me outside. I'm like, bruh, you need to chill. It's just a game, but I'll still talk shit. But no, but like, just like, oh no, it's all in great fun. Like
Right.
it was all good mannered, and sometimes yeah, I do miss those days, but yeah, man. All right, there's so many things I could ask you though, because me and you, we just know what the fuck is going on. But going back to your gaming videos, you have played hundreds, maybe almost thousands of games now, through YouTube, and a lot of games that I know you've introduced me to. Like just recently, actually, you introduced me to Persona, like the Persona series. Like I never,
Sure.
like I always heard about it, but I never, played it. Cause I always had friends who played it and like, yo, Persona's actually pretty dope. I'm like, fucking nah. But played Persona 3 actually, and it was actually pretty dope. So I'm really looking forward to Persona 4 and Persona 5. That should be coming out soon. Apparently, I don't know what's going on with that. But the question I'm going to ask you is like, of all those games, what is your favorite, dude? Like, do you even have a favorite?
See, it's hard to put my finger on a certain game and or games and say, well, these are the best ones. I mean, I could easily, over the years, I can pull certain games out and say, well, these are some of my favorite playthroughs. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like some of my favorite experiences
yeah,
of games that I was able to share with people over the internet. And obviously, one of the ones that I would throw out there immediately would be the one that a lot of people say is kind of the quintessential playthrough I ever did, Heavy Rain,
mm,
because when that game came out, it was kind of a cultural thing, a phenomenon, because games that were narrative based weren't very popular in 2010. And that was the year where it was like everything was a first person shooter or everything was this cliche action game. And for a game like that to come out that's a murder mystery that has an interesting cast of characters who your choices can actually have them live or die, and the fact that it really added by having someone do commentary over it and give kind of jokes or their insights into what's going on, that's one of my games that I think ultimately was one of my favorite playthroughs.
Yeah.
Some other games over the years, Batman Arkham City, thought was one of the
Uh,
best. Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, by far, both of them, I kind of hold them in the same regard playthrough wise, because games that took an IP, right, a piece of existing culture and converted it into a game, but it took it super seriously. It
mm-hmm.
had really great attention to the characters and the lore of Batman and did it right. It didn't, you could tell it wasn't a shameless cash in. They cared about what they were doing. And because of that, I mean, rightly so, translated into one of the biggest, most popular gaming franchises of the past 10 years.
Yeah, man.
Um, I would say to some extent the Mass Effect games. I really liked playing Mass Effect 2 and 3 and sharing that with an audience,
Mm-hmm.
because I actually remember playing Mass Effect 1 when it was new and
Yeah.
saying, "Man, I really love this game, but I wish that I had like an audience or someone that I could share my feelings about this game with." And being that I had kind of been the fighting game guy, I didn't really have many friends who were into the console games, so it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like I could call my friend and say, "Hey, did you play Mass Effect? It's great." So then when I started doing YouTube and I could play games like Mass Effect and stuff like that and share that with people, that was like an awesome experience. And it's hard, again, it's really hard for me to put my finger down and say this was, because there's been so many great fun experiences over the years with games that I've been able to share.
Yeah.
And so for different reasons too. Like there's been playthroughs that were so fucking bad, like games that were just so terrible. And to do a playthrough of it, like it still sticks out in my mind, that stupid game Conduit 2, and
Oh my god.
how bad of a game it was. And everyone, I remember when Conduit 1 came out, I didn't play it. It was out a Wii exclusive, and everyone says, "Oh, it's a great game." And I was like, "How could it be great? I'm looking at the graphics, they look like shit. You're using the Wiimote to
Yes.
play the game. How could this be any good?" I said, "You know what? I'm doing stuff for YouTube now. I'll give it a fair shake." I played Conduit 2, one of the worst games I've ever played.
I
Just
was
like, so go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was about to say I will agree with you because I actually was saving up for that game when it came out, and I was like, you know what, this I keep on hearing so many great things, all like from IGN and GameSpot. The worst decision ever made to trust
Yeah.
them, but I saved up and I played that game. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And like my dad comes in, is like, hey, you enjoying it? I'm like, no, this game sucks. Like, it can't be that bad. He played it. He's like, wow, this. I'm disappointed. Like it
It's a
was.
perfect example of how unfortunately games aren't don't seem to be held on a level playing field because it's on one console or another, which I totally disagree with. If you're going to rank games, you have to rank them all against each other. You can't say, "Well, this is the best first-person shooter game for Wii, so it's a 9 out of 10."
Mm-hmm.
The best first-person shooter game on Wii could be fucking way worse than every other first-person shooter on the Xbox or the PS3, so you can't hold it in the same regard, but that's what the reviewers were doing at the time. But I remember the reason I still think about that playthrough, and I still think I'm glad that I did it, is because I exposed the game out being so fucking bad that people still to this day say, "Phil, do you remember at the end of the game when you were in that jungle and those enemies kept respawning and you kept shooting? It was such a grind." And they bring it up, and then he's like, and then after going through all that, you get to the ending and fucking Abe Lincoln came out of a fucking spaceship, and
Yeah.
I'm like,
Like,
you know what? That's why it's been such a fun experience to do both good games and share those experiences with everyone. But also when I get to play a game, just earlier this year, a game like The Order 1886,
mhm.
where all the media is kissing this game's ass, and then all of a sudden one or two media outlets pan it, and everyone's like, "Well, now we don't know what to believe." So then I play it and I beat the game in one fucking day, and it's like, it's good to be able to expose games for what they are while also having fun doing it, I guess is the shit. Even if it's a bad game, if I can have fun at least knowing that I got something constructive out of it, I feel like it's a worthwhile playthrough.
And
So
my opinion on the Order 1886 is like people like after like when they saw it was really you who opened like at least to my group of friends who play games that on Xbox Live. They were like, well, even though they had PS4, I don't know why, but they when they saw that, like, oh man, we saw Phil's thing, man, like we saw that, man, that game's bullshit, and I'm the only one saying, like, I think the game is good, and that's like the beauty of what you do. Like, even though, yeah, you'll talk shit because you'll talk shit about any game, man. Like, you can talk about shit about the greatest game to ever come out, like, and it'll still be funny. But in my opinion, I think the game was good. but it was really showing that okay, this is what really this new technology could do. Because like what you really showed me, not that this was a bad game, but that okay, this is something that can potentially do this for like this series or that series or for a new gaming IP. And like, even though yeah, it fucking sucks that I spent $60 on a game that can only last me for like 6 hours, but
Right.
it's still very exciting to see gaming wise that this is what we're doing now. This is what can be put on a PS4 and on an Xbox One. It's not just the PC elitists have those awesome graphics anymore. So
Right.
it kind of just showed that gaming can also now be more of a cinematic look or like a beautiful looking thing more than just what's substance, like what's in it. Like sometimes
Sure.
like like it's art basically. That's what gaming is. It's art. It's like a movie. It's like a painting. Like sometimes the look of it is better than what's the substance is like it's going on.
Right.
Sometimes like and that's what I thought. Yeah, at least.
Yeah, oh no, I'll 100% agree with you. I think it would have you would have to find someone trying to be really dishonest and just hate on the game for no reason if they said that the graphics weren't amazing in that game. I mean, you could tell that's probably one of the insanely strong focuses of that dev team was we want to make this game look like a movie. We want it to
Yeah.
look like it's a CGI movie, flawless what's the word, transition, flawless transition between rooms and scenes without loading judders and
Hmm.
having these insanely detailed character models. And everywhere you went in that game, you saw crazy amounts of detail on the walls or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And you know what? I'm perfectly okay with people who want to say that they like something that I don't like. I'm okay with that. But
Yeah.
what I hate is when someone says, "Well, I like that, but I'm going to say that it's a 10 out of 10."
Oh. Uh huh.
Ignoring any of the flaws of the game just because for whatever reason, like imagine that, because there were people who were like, "The Order 1886 is the best graphics I've ever seen. It's a 10 out of 10, my game of the year." And it's like, what?
What? Yeah.
Like it's 6 hours long. It's not to sell that for $60 is a fucking sin to
Yeah.
a gamer in 2015. So that's where I get irked. But no, I'm totally on the same page with you that yeah, that game. If they could translate the graphics of the Order 1886 and put it into a 15 to 20 hour long, really like in-depth campaign with side content, with side questing and fleshed out characters, that could have been one of the best games ever made.
Yeah.
But the reasons that I really hated on the game was because it was a complete false advertising campaign. That the
Hmm.
entire advertising campaign of the game claimed that it was going to be a group of monster hunters fighting monsters, and when you could count on I think I did a count, I did a video countdown. There's like 9 monsters in the game total.
Wow.
Out of
That
6 hours, it's like 10 minutes of gameplay. So
that's
that's what really irked me. That you're going to sell a game like that as a full retail release, $60, and it's only 6 hours long with 9 monsters in it. That's bullshit.
they could have went around it so well. Like if they would have sold it for like maybe like 30 or like or 25 or something like that, then I believe nobody would have said shit about it. But yeah, $60 game, and that just shows like gaming industry starting to be money hungry. But anyway, off of that sad shit, it's to really talk about. That's the question of what's your favorite playthrough. If you will take my humble opinion,
Sure.
I gotta say that Skate 2, one of your oldest playthroughs ever, Skate 2 is my favorite because
Wow.
at the end of that one, like not that it really wasn't for like it was the best time you had the best jokes and everything clicked. No, it was really to me a subpar playthrough until the goddamn end. I have never seen someone who like did YouTube at that time legit just said, you know what? Fuck this game. Like this is not me. Like I'm just done playing this. Like that whole blow up you did about it was like, you know what? No, this like Skate 2 has its fans, but this is just not me. Fuck this game. I'm done playing it. I'm not having fun. 7 out of 10. See y'all later. And like I was like, bro, like that's why I was like, this is the guy for me. And of course, the big one to me has to be Fallout 3.
Oh,
It,
awesome.
it
Yeah.
has to be Fallout 3 because I that's like when I feel like really just became a fan because every day when you were playing that game, I was right there like waiting for the videos. And like it was back in the day when you were used to flood people's sub box with just new whole bunch of new videos, like 30 or 40 videos just came out of nowhere. I was one of the people who was like, "Oh, new DSP videos? What? Fallout 3? Yes, let's go." And and it came to a point where it was like when I actually bought Fallout 3 for myself, I did a playthrough alongside with you doing the same thing that everything that you did, and a lot of things
Hmm.
that you did in the game. Actually, I didn't even do like my first two playthroughs that I did it when I decided to do with you. So that's when like like it was like really cool to do that type of stuff.
Yeah, that was probably the game, because that was a game that, first of all, I actually did do a complete playthrough of the game. It wasn't like me just doing highlights of my favorite parts of it or anything like that.
Yeah.
And it was a very popular game at the time, and it was a game that I had missed when it was brand new, but I played it a few months later after it had been brand new, and it already was getting, everyone was saying game of the year buzz for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea what to expect, because number one, I never played a Fallout game before. I actually had never played an Elder Scrolls game before, which is what these people were known for before they made Fallout 3.
I'll go with you on that one. Yes, me too.
And I had no idea what to expect. Keep in mind that this was the year that I was jumping back into console gaming. So, being that I had already done a few video series of me just kind of dicking around playing games and only doing little like highlights, I had no idea if there would be demand for me to do a huge long scale game like that from start to finish. And the fact that there were people who were there from part one to the final part with all the side content I did, with how long it took me, because it wasn't a game that I beat quick, that's for
Oh
sure.
no, it was weeks. I remember it took me weeks, like weeks, to actually finish the playthrough when I was doing alongside with
Right.
you.
And even, there were some nights, I remember there were some nights where it was like a Friday night. I came home from a really stressful day of work, and I'm like, man, I just want to have a drink, but I want to play games too. So I'd sit there drinking, having, two, three, four freaking rum and cokes, and playing the game, getting sloppy faced drunk playing this game, and just fucking screwing shit up, like killing people by accident and just doing really dumb stuff. But that was kind of the start of the appeal too, was that I was the gamer. I didn't take it seriously, but when I played a game, like, it stuck. There were other people who'd be like, "Oh, I fucked up. I'm gonna go back and redo that." But I never did that. It was
Yeah.
like, if it happened in the game, it stick. That's it. I got drunk. I fucked up. I killed everyone in the town. Well, oh well. They're dead. That's life. That's in life. You don't get any second chances. So why should you get it in the video game?
Yeah,
And that's
man.
kind of how I approached that playthrough. And a lot of people say that to this day. They say, that was what watching me play Fallout 3 inspired people not only to like Let's Plays, but even to maybe go out and play that style of game, and even to maybe even consider doing their own kind of Let's Plays, because they saw that you don't have to be the super serious person when you're playing a long form game. You could just kind of relax and dick around with it and do it a little bit at a time and play the hell out of it and have fun with it. And I still get messages to this day, Phil, I've been watching you since 2008, and your Fallout 3 playthrough inspired me to do this and this with gaming. So thanks so much. And I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
who knew? Right? When I was
Yeah.
just being an asshole, basically, in late 2008, just killing time with this camera, that would ever amounted to anything, that I would be now living across the country from where I used to live in a nice house, and, doing all the shit that I do now. I never would have fathomed. I always thought I was going to be like I thought I'd be like a slave to the man. I would be a 9 to 5 job. And then when I get my free time, I get my free time. But to be doing what I'm doing today is like a fucking crazy dream
Yeah.
that I never imagined would come together the way that it did.
Yeah, and just to say real quick, like I'm a YouTuber myself, but I'm not a YouTube gamer. I'm a YouTube vlogger. Yeah, I'm a part of the problem. But it's like when I wanted to actually start doing gaming, like I started looking up like everything that you'll need to do gaming. I was like, oh, you need an Elgato, like oh, you need this and that, and I'm like, bro, I just like spent like $600 on this Canon HD camera that I just got. So like, why the hell do I want to drop $200, $300 on a little capture card for my Dell computer? Like, no, man, forget that. So same thing. I just put it on there, did some Halo gameplay, and it was really terrible for what, at least my standards. I went like 13 and like 5, and to me that's like, that could have been better. But it's whatever. But last little gaming thing, and I know we're running out of time because I know you got things to do. Want to ask you just a couple more questions.
Sure.
Fallout 4. I know you got to be excited for this because I'm really excited to see you play this. Like, because like Fallout to me is like, I like don't just like take this weirdly, but like me Fallout to me is like when a Fallout game comes out, it feel like it's just gonna be me and Phil, and we're just gonna be doing this because like Fallout series is like really close to my heart now. It's just gaming wise, and you're a part of it, so I know you're excited, man. Don't I know you can't overhype it because you got to do what you got to do, but are you a little excited, or you just say, fuck it, you might skip it?
Well, let me put it this way. There's a few different levels that I think of it on. First of all, just as a gamer in general, the fact that I've played Fallout 3, I loved the game.
Yeah.
I loved it so much that I went back and did another playthrough of a completionist run where I actually did all the side content and everything for the game.
Yeah.
Then I played Fallout New Vegas. Oh my god, so good. Just recently did a second playthrough of that one because I liked it so much. I went out ahead because I liked the games these guys made so much that I went ahead and played Skyrim, which was completely out of my comfort zone. I loved that game so much. Just from a gamer's perspective of the level of immersion, the level of detail, the level of content, the quality of gameplay, I am like giddy to play Fallout 4 because I get the
Yeah.
feeling this is a game, they haven't done a major release now in so many years. You know that they put a shitload of time into this game.
Yeah.
I get the feeling this is going to be kind of like this will be the game that we play and we're like, damn, you remember when we used to play games like this all the time?
Yeah.
We would play a game and kind of be wowed, and now it's 2015 and 75 to 80% of the games you play, you're kind of like, it was okay, or it was acceptable, it was passable. What happened to that inspiration we used to get when we played a game and we were like, damn, I am just so engrossed and I'm having so much fun and I can't wait till my next free minute to play another game. That's how I felt when I was playing Fallout 3.
Yeah.
So I'm certainly, as a gamer on a gamer's level, I'm really looking forward to it because I know this company is a tried and true company that puts out great stuff, and I'm really feeling positive that they're going to probably put out the game of the year this year.
Yeah.
Okay. From a YouTuber perspective, it's a completely different thing because I really feel that the Fallout 3 playthrough was one of the things that got me noticed on YouTube initially.
Hmm.
And the fact that I to this day, if you were to poll people, gamers, people who watch videos on YouTube, and you said, of all the people who you've watched play Fallout 3, what were the best playthroughs ever? People say my name.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a crazy feeling to know that I will be synonymous with Fallout 3, at least people who played it, pretty much forever because of the timing of my playthrough and the way that I did it way differently than anyone else. Even though the visual quality was shit,
Oh.
it was
Yeah.
bad. You couldn't even see. Every time I was in the sewers, you couldn't even see anything because of my camera.
But you know
But
what? Like, who the fuck cares, man? It was
right,
still fun.
right, and that's the thing. I played the game to have fun. It wasn't a walkthrough. It wasn't a playthrough. So I know that when I play Fallout 4, that there's going to be a lot of expectation.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of anticipation. There's going to be a lot of people that probably have not watched me do a damn thing for years, and they're going to say, well, Fallout 4, I remember Fallout 3 with DSP. Let me go back and see what DSP's doing these days. And and they're going to check out the playthrough. So I realize that, I have a responsibility to
To-
put out something that's quality, to put out something that's entertaining, and to not get stressed out, not get pissed off, not let other stuff that's going on with my life kind of affect it. And to kind of, I need to basically go back into the mindset of how I was back in 2008 when it was like, fuck it, this is my free time, this is me just relaxing and playing the game. There's no stream chat distracting me, and there's
Yeah.
no things going on around me. This is just time for me to sit down and buckle down and enjoy a game for what it is.
That. Oh yeah. Go on.
So that's kind of, it's different. It's like I'm looking forward to the game from a gamer's perspective because I know I'm gonna love it, and I'm hoping that it's just as good as the other two Fallouts that I played. But I'm also looking forward to it because I know that it's kind of got that big event feel to it for something that I'm doing that people have been looking forward to for a long ass time. And so I mean, the thing is though. And this is kind of going hand with your original question. I don't get super hype because the thing is, what I've found over the years is if you get super hype over something, undoubtedly what you're going to do is you're going to raise the expectations to unreasonable levels, and then when you play it you're going to feel a little bit disappointed. And what I mean by that is there's people who love something so much that then they go out and they'll read about it and they'll spoil the whole damn thing. There's people who apparently know the whole plot to this new Star Wars movie coming out in December, right?
Wow.
And it's like, why would you do that? If you're a fan of that, why would you go out of your way to look up there's leaks and shit? Why? I just want to play the game at face value as an honest playthrough that first time, and not say, oh well, I read this on this website and I saw this guy doing an advanced playthrough here and I saw this preview video which is the first 20 minutes of gameplay, so I know what to expect there. No, I don't want to get that much into it because then it kind of ruins the experience. I just want to play it fresh and new when it's released. And I don't want to get too overexcited about it. As much as I am excited about it, I don't want to mention it every day and get people all hyped. You know what I mean? I'd rather just wait, and then when it comes out, boom, and then we can all enjoy it for what it is.
All right, yeah, and so like I said, very excited for it. Big event feel, and if you're listening to this, please go check out the Fallout 3 playthrough. Even though it take you hella long time to finish, please go check it out. It's still to me a YouTube classic till this day. But all right, so now let's get to the semi-serious shit. I know we're running out of time, so
Sure.
let's just.
No rush,
I mean, I want to keep you, dog. But okay, so you're called the King of Hate. Yeah, that's just who you are. Even though in my opinion, I don't think you've really been really acknowledging the hate as much as you used to back in the old days. But this is kind of what the question is going to be. There's going to be a lot of comments on this video. I bet people who are going to hear this podcast and people who are haters of you, and they're going to definitely be saying, "Oh man, DJ Bunch, man, he's just a fan. All this is really for him is just him getting to talk to somebody. He's kissing his ass. He's not talking, asking the real questions." Well, I say, "Fuck you, Steve Jones. I'm going to ask him some real questions." So, uh, um, here's really what it is. You sadly, let's just be real, you are sadly not one of the big YouTube gamers as you used to be. And one of the things that as a fan I try to figure out, like, okay, what's going on, why is he not as big as he used to be. Then I go back to some vlogs that you put out talking about some situations that were going on. So my question to you is like, do you think the sort of stubborn attitude that you had back then about like not taking on like any sponsors or ads or not taking deals from different companies to do certain things that will change up your style, like basically, do you think your stubbornness sadly has taken away from your fame or success on YouTube than what it could have been than to what it is now?
Oh, I mean, I would be an idiot if I said no. I mean, of course, it's
Yeah.
because the one of the major reasons that I enjoy and have always enjoyed doing stuff on YouTube is because I can be me. Is
Yeah.
that I can be myself, I can be honest, I can be outspoken, I can say what I want to say, I can give my opinion, and I can share it with a bunch of people, and people will either agree or disagree, and that's okay. That's part of the whole give and take of discussion, intelligent discussion. You don't want someone to just totally kiss your ass. At the same time, you don't want to just hear people disagree. You want to hear all kinds of varying opinions so you can weigh and balance them. And over the years, a lot of things that I've been very, very polarized on, I kind of over the years mellowed out about them and
Mm-hmm.
realized that maybe being so polarized, for example, Minecraft, right?
Mm.
This is a game that I talked shit about for how many years? Endlessly. Like, I just didn't get the appeal of it. But at the same time, I never played it. So how can you really have an educated opinion on something when you've never really experienced it? And then finally, earlier this year, playing the game, and I've talked shit about it for so many years. Finally playing, I said, "All right, you know what? My bad, because I can actually see the appeal of the game. Not to say that I love it, and not to say that I'm going to be one of the fanboys of it, but I can see why there was a huge cultural movement of people who played this game and fell in love with it, and it became kind of the quintessential video game for them for years."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When it comes to YouTube, absolutely. I mean, things that I've done on YouTube that were just so, it took me so long to even just do something simple like go from a camera to direct capture. And it was a lot of tooth pulling from people saying, "Listen, Phil, you don't understand. Like, all of YouTube now has converted to direct capture because it's so easy. It's cheap. It's a couple $100. You hook it up to a PC, you do this direct capture. The quality is so outstanding compared to what you're doing with the camera. Not to say that your camera playthroughs aren't fun, but there's going to be a time when the new viewer who doesn't know you is going to say, well, this guy is recording low quality and I don't care. And they're going to click away. And, you know, I was so stubborn. It took me how many years of me using the camera before finally 2 years ago, I said, all right, I'll finally change. I'll finally adjust. And there's a lot of things like that that I've kind of been very stubborn about.
Mm-hmm.
And even to this day, I enjoy playing a game from start to finish, giving my honest reactions, and sharing those experiences with people on a live basis, whether it's on stream or you know, relatively live as I'm uploading those videos to YouTube.
Yeah.
You will find it's very difficult in this day and age to make a living doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Most people on YouTube who are still doing gaming for a living have found that the perfect formula is not the full playthrough anymore, because the common person doesn't want to sit there for 8 hours to 10 hours watching a playthrough. They want to see the highlights. They want to see what's the funny thing, what's the fail, what's the overblown reaction, what can they watch in a few minutes a day that's going to give them a laugh, or it's going to give them a little bit of entertainment in a nutshell. And
And
that's not what I do. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
to call out a name, really, Funhouse or Inside Gaming, that's how they built their popularity online. This is no like jab at Funhouse at all, like because
No.
I think Funhouse is like, I think they're amazing, to be honest with you. I think they're really funny guys, and they know what the hell they're doing, and that's thing. I'm not gonna say it. I'm gonna keep it kind of PC, but you know they know what they're doing, and you know they built a career off of that. But I do understand like what you're saying, like because you know, as been watching you for years, I've been like dude, like change up, like do something, like like no, we're just gonna be honest here, like there's been times where I seriously got tired of your content because it was like this dude seriously is not gonna change, like he's just gonna keep doing the low quality, not as funny type things, and like it did sadden me because it was like, man, like because like I wanted Phil, like I wanted you to start being up there with like the Markipliers and the Toby Games, which I don't even know what the hell he's up there, but whatever. And and the PewDiePies, but sadly that's how things work out. And I actually also, since you're not in here, I'm glad I get to ask you this question. There was a couple of years ago, actually, you had a vlog talking about Toby Games, or Toby Turner, for anybody who doesn't know. Uh, there was like some controversy about how YouTubers can put on ads on different people's videos, which is such BS because I was a YouTuber making money off of that at the time, and I don't want to see an ad of Zoella or anybody on my YouTube channel. That's just taken away. But
Right.
then you were saying a vlog, and one thing that you said always had my attention was that yes, you are influential, but I wanted to say, like, do you know at all that you might have inspired like guys like PewDiePie or any like the big YouTube gamers? Do you know that you might have inspired them?
In particular, PewDiePie, yeah, because not only can you see it's still available. If you go look at his YouTube account, his actual 100% YouTube account that's confirmed or whatever. Before he ever uploaded a video, he was watching all my videos in his view history, and he favorited a ton of them. He even left some comments, which
Mm,
I don't know if they're still out there anymore,
yeah,
because who knows? Yeah, I'm sure. Let's face it, when you're someone like that, if you had been leaving comments, you probably want to get rid of them,
yeah.
or else people start bringing shit up. But I mean, you could see it's all public knowledge, and he's brought me up in his playthroughs before. Like
Wow.
his Heavy Rain playthrough, he directly said, "Wow, this detective looks just like DSP." Now, what are the chances that he would bring me up in the playthrough that's kind of known to be my big playthrough,
Oh
and
man.
says a guy looks just like me during it? And also other people, SSOHPKC,
Uh
has
huh.
talked to me specifically and said, "You are the reason. You were the big guy who I was watching on YouTube do game playthroughs, and you kind of inspired me to do my own thing." And
Hmm.
now look, how they grew. He has his own group, the Creatures, who exploded on YouTube, and they're way more popular than I am.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of like, for me, it's interesting because I started in 2008 expecting nothing. Okay, and I'm happy with where I am. Like, I don't want to get anyone to get the feeling that like I'm ungrateful or I'm not happy. I mean, I am. I have a great house. I am making a good living, and sometimes things go wrong with copyright shit and stuff like that, and I'll get pissed and I'll vent. But for the most part, I'm living a dream. I never thought that this would be my life.
Yeah.
But I also have to admit, to some extent, when you see these guys who watched me and were inspired by me and my formula, and the fact that I stuck to that formula, well, they took that formula and changed it a little bit and ran with it. And now look at PewDiePie, who's the biggest YouTuber ever, a multimillionaire, while I'm here, kind of struggling every once in a while to pay a bill. I'll be honest, yeah, it pisses me the fuck off that maybe I shouldn't have been so stubborn. Maybe I should have been more open minded. But
Yeah.
it's tough because the thing is, hindsight's 50-50, right?
Hmm.
Let's face it, if I had known everything that was going to happen, maybe I would have done something different. But how do you know? There was a time, the years of 2010 to late 2012, 2013, when nothing really negative was happening, doing things the same old way. And how would I have known that YouTube was going to change their search algorithms, and YouTube was going to change the way that videos are viewed, and YouTube was going to change the channel page, and YouTube was going to do 5 million things to basically fuck over people like me and my business model, so that I couldn't survive anymore, and it would become more people making highly edited videos that catch people's attention, and they have a hook, like they scream at a horror game or whatever. you know it is what it is. I
Yeah.
can't, I'm not going to be, how can I be bitter when I'm still successful? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like you have really nothing to be bitter about. Like, that, like, me asking that question, it wasn't to say like, oh man, like, oh, you're basically a kingmaker, but you have no money. But like, no, like you're a king in your own right. Like you're the fucking king of hate, man. Like it's you, it's chill. Like you have the right attitude about it. Basically, like you are really happy that you're doing something that really did inspire a lot of people. Like, yes, you made your mistakes like everybody would, but at least you were able to one make somebody a millionaire. Like like even though fuck, I wish I had those millions, but you got. I mean, at least for me, I would feel like wow, I helped someone become a millionaire, and that's an interesting feeling, and it's not all bad. I think it's like wow, I have. It shows how much power you had on people, and that's really awesome, man. Like
Yeah,
yeah,
I guess I guess so. In retrospect, you look at it and you're like, hey, if and by the way, I also want to say this. I don't want anyone to get the impression that I think that I was the one who started the whole Let's Play movement because I certainly
oh no,
wasn't.
no.
I was basically the guy who inadvertently jumped into it at a time when it was at the perfect point where it would get popular, and I did it in a different way, kind of just being ignorant because I didn't even know that this was going to be a big thing. I was dumb to it. I didn't even know that anyone had ever done it before or whatever, and blew up by complete chance. So I don't want anyone to get that impression that I'm saying that I am the originator of Let's Plays. And no, I just think that I was in the right place at the right time. I did something a little differently than everyone else, how they were doing it. I got very popular at that time because of it. But now that era of that kind of gameplay being the most popular is not the case. And because of that, things will become more popular and less popular over time. I'm just happy that I'm still able to be here and do the kind of thing that I like to do, and still be able to make a living doing it. And there's changes too. It's not just YouTube anymore now. I have other things that I have to work on, like I have to push Patreon as a way to support. But a lot of other YouTubers had to do that too. They realized that ad revenue on YouTube alone isn't enough to make a living anymore, and you need to have
Yeah.
supplemental income. And what's to say that tomorrow with this YouTube Red, that all the money from YouTube doesn't go away, and you need to find something else anyway. So I've had to make changes, but I'm still happy where I am. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people seem to think that that's not the case because I'm a very outspoken individual. I will call out something that I think is bullshit, or I will make a complaint, or be verbal about something if I find it to be not in the right. And that doesn't mean that I'm unhappy. It just means that I'm trying to bring issues to light. And the thing is, a lot of YouTubers don't do that kind of stuff. They just sit there, they put out their gameplay video for the day, and that's all you hear from them. And
Yeah.
that's their style. That's not my style.
Yeah, and like I said, much respect to that. But yeah. Okay. So last question. Do you have any favorite YouTubers out right now? Anybody you would like to see get more popularity, or just really just anybody you just are liking at the moment?
See, here's the thing. And I've said this over the years.
Uh huh.
I don't watch YouTube, and I
Oh,
know people might be like, "Holy shit,
really? I did
a
not know that.
YouTuber." I don't watch YouTube, and here's the thing. For me, I do like to keep my work separate from what I would consider to be, say, something that I do during downtime, or something that I do as like a relaxation technique. And the reason that I do that is if it spills over, then you'll find that, at least in my life experience, that if it spills over, that it becomes too commonplace or too much of the same thing, and it loses its ability. So before YouTube was my job, right? Work was my office job from 9 to 5, and then I would come home and I would make YouTube videos and play games, and I would watch the Angry Video Game Nerd, and I would watch the Nostalgia Critic,
Mm,
and maybe one or two other people at that time, and those were kind of my releases. Then when I started doing YouTube more seriously, I stopped watching the Angry Video Game Nerd. I stopped watching the Nostalgia Critic because I said I don't want to inundate myself with internet. Because if I just keep watching internet personalities and everything about me is internet, it's going to become too much. I want to diversify. So I started watching more TV. I started watching more movies. I started reading books. I started doing things outside of, say, an internet presence,
yeah.
so that it felt like it was a separation of work and free time.
Hmm.
And now, yeah, I don't. The only YouTube that I see, God's honest truth, my girlfriend Leanna watches a few different YouTubers. I think she watches this guy Review Tech USA every once in a while. I think she watches this guy The Amazing Atheist, and they have a podcast called The Drunken Peasants, and I end up
Yeah.
hearing half of that half the time because she's got that playing in the background. She watches, oh God, she just started watching a few wrestling related things because now she's like into wrestling. She started playing WWE 2K16 along with me. So we're watching wrestling together. We're enjoying that. So she's watching like wrestling related stuff on the internet. So any YouTube stuff that I know of, I literally hear like secondhand through her. I never sit down and say it's time for me to watch daily YouTube video. No, when I'm done recording, I head downstairs with her and we watch some television that's on demand, or we watch a movie or something like that, because it would be too much. I really do feel that I would get overloaded if I made all of my presence one thing. And, in some ways, it's a little bit of a shame because, like I said, I used to be a huge fan of the Angry Video Game Nerd. And I've said over the years, he and the Nostalgia Critic were actually huge influences on me
Hmm.
to say, look at what these guys are doing. And they're not professional filmmakers, right? They don't, they have no budget, but they're putting forward quality content that's getting tons and tons of attention. I can do it too. And it kind of inspired me to do, of course, my product's completely different, but it inspired me to do what I did. But once I made that my job, I basically said, I'm going to draw that line now. And I really haven't even watched anything from them for like 3, 4 years.
Oh yeah. Well, they've been having Angry Video Game Nerd. I think he's definitely lost his steam now. It's not as good as it used to be. And Nostalgia Critic, he's really actually reinvented himself. I think you really would like his new stuff now. So I mean, I'm not telling you like to do it now, but if you ever get a chance, look up some different ones like that he's done. He's done pretty well. But wow, that is really something that you don't watch YouTube. But hey, that's how life works. But okay, we are going up on an hour, and you know what? That's all, man. That's all I really got for you, dude. Thank you so freaking much for coming on here, man. You
Yeah,
don't.
not a problem. It's
Yeah, man.
like I said, if more people wanted to have intelligent conversation, have fun, and just chat, and it doesn't have to be about me either. If people have topics, if you want me back on your show in a couple
Oh,
months, if you have a hot topic
yeah.
regarding YouTube or gaming or something that you feel that I could weigh in on, I'd be more than happy to. It's that it's hilarious because I get people. There's these two people in my stream chat all the time. They're like, Phil, why didn't you go on so and so podcast? They asked you and you didn't go on. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, I don't. People assume that because people say something, oh yeah, I'd love to have DSP on my podcast. I didn't get an invite. So if I don't, you know what I mean? If I don't get the invite, I'm not going to show.
Yeah.
And so many people over the years, they claim that people have said that they want to have me on stuff and do. The only invites I typically get are for negative stuff that I don't want to have anything to do with. I don't want to
Yeah.
have to be here being an accusatory podcast for two hours where I have to feel like I have to defend myself. I want to have fun.
Yeah.
So if anyone ever wants to, wants that, it's very easy to find me. Darksidephil@hotmail.com has been my email address forever.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a secret. It's the public email address that you can, and it might take a while. I mean, from example that I missed one of your emails that you
Yeah.
sent me, and luckily you tweeted me, and I got the tweet. Okay, and I found the email and I responded because I do get a ton of emails, but mostly they're fucking spam.
Yeah.
Because that's the nature of the beast. When you have an email for 10 years, you get so much spam accumulated on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I definitely enjoyed it. I liked the show, and like I said, if you ever want to have me back to talk about something that's not just me, I'd be more than willing. And the same thing goes for anyone out there who's running projects and podcasts. You think that I could weigh in on games or YouTube or anything? Yeah.
Yeah, actually, the original plan was for this, like, in this little short span that I had with you, I wanted to, like, one, talk about yourself a little bit, and then talk about gaming, and then talk about, like, the YouTube landscape and, like, different other things. But, like I said, I'm glad you're really open to coming back on the show. We definitely will have you. Like I said, I just wanted to say that, like, you are, like, literally, like, one of the first guys I watched on YouTube. It was you, it was the wine cone, and Smosh, you were like were one of the first that I consider, like, those guys are, like, the YouTube bigs, and those guys make funny shit. And like I said, like, when you actually did say, like, yeah, I will come on your show, it was like really like, holy crap, like, is this really happening? And then for the whole week coming, I actually did not think this would actually be happening. But even before, I was really nervous because, like, you are, like, cause really are a pioneer of this whole YouTube thing, man. So I really appreciate you. Like, reason I do what I do now is, like, I'm a YouTube vlogger and comedian, and soon to be creating skits. Watch out for that. But it's also, it's really because of you, because I have you in my head as a YouTube personality and as just a internet entertaining personality. It's you plus with Swoozy and a little bit of Smosh and Niga Higa and some other guys that not YouTubers but, like, comedians, but you are one of those guys. And like I said, Phil, I really do appreciate you coming on here, man. Thank you for taking your time on here. And yes, we'll be gladly to have you come back and, like, talk about some stuff, because me and my co-host, we just talk about BS, and you like to talk about BS too, so we all can get along, right?
Sure. Yeah, and the one major thing that makes me different, I feel, and a lot of people say, "Oh, Phil wants to be different. He also has to say this,"
Yeah.
is that I'm a one man. I'm a one man business, There's
Yeah.
no one else involved. There's no one who edits my videos. I don't have a manager. There's not a team of people here working fervently behind the scenes. And I think a lot of people misunderstand that. Why couldn't Phil do these highly edited, super quality montages? Because I'm one person and I'm not a
Yeah.
video editor and I have no training in that. I'm just a guy who sat down, put a camera in front of his TV and recorded. I'm a very personable guy. I'm a very friendly guy for those who want to be friendly to me. I can also be a dick to those who want to be a dick to me, you know?
Yeah.
So it kind of goes both ways. And so, don't feel like, oh, I want to reach out to Phil about something. It's not like that. It's not like I'm one of these YouTubers who's so unreachable because they're hidden behind millions of subs and, they're a team of a corporation of people working together to make this overproduced product that's incredibly popular. That's
Yeah.
not me, and that's never going to be me. I never foresee myself becoming that. And I'm a very reachable guy, and so
Yeah.
I think that is a common misconception about me, right? That
That's what
that
that's oh sorry, but like
No, go ahead.
I feel sorry, but like that's something I would like to be too because yeah, like for me, I tell every person who wants to start off doing YouTube is like I started off with a webcam on my mom's computer. That's how I started off. Like doing my stuff was just me having it up and then me just saying some funny stuff and then self teaching myself how to edit videos. Like of course, like like, even though you do what you do, like of course I would love to have like a team and greatly I do have a team behind me. Even though I still do all the editing myself, still nobody want to come up and help me on that department. But it still is like I do have a team of guys who are creative. Like I'll go ahead and call them up. Paige, Josh, Michael, and new addition Danny, and of course my co-host Thomas. He's been here almost since day one. Well, I'll give him day two. He was here day two, but he still has been there, and like I would love to have a big team to help me out, but I also still would like to keep that reachability. Like hey, if you want to talk to me on a podcast, I'm so down to do it. Because I'm a personable guy too. Like I like to just talk to people, but but anyway. Thank you so much, Dark Side Phil. If you want to check out his content, his channel is DSPGaming and his vlog channel is the King of Hate Vlogs. And if you also want to check out my content, DJ Bunch, I just said it. It's the DJ Bunch. I make funny skits, and well, not skits. I make funny vlogs, and some little serious vlogs, and also skits and some other things. I won't say what, but they're becoming soon too. And DSP, of course, he's just a gamer. Not just a gamer, but But follow us both on Twitter. They call me DSP, right?
Yeah, at
Yeah,
they call me
yeah.
DSP.
At they call me DSP. Follow the podcast. At the Curious IP, and you can follow me at the DJ Bunch, and you can follow Thomas if you want to. My co-host. You can follow him at that asshole or Jesus Uno. What the fuck? I don't know if he changed it yet. Who knows? But anyway, Phil, thank you, and to you, the listener, thank you so much for listening. My name is DJ Bunch, and this has been Phil. Thank you, and we see you guys later. We out here.
Peace.